How are you all doing? This is Intro Nerded, and we are here to play some X-Wing Alliance. Now, Star Wars is maybe one of the greatest franchises of all time. I think we can all agree about that. I said one of. You can like other things too. That's fine. We don't have to agree on everything. But Star Wars is easily one of the best franchises. That is just a fact. The X-Wing games from the early 90s, and well, I guess throughout the 90s, are some of what are considered the best, not really space simulator games, because you know the whole Newtonian, non-Newtonian physics thing, but some of the best flight simulator games of all time. And this game was the last of the greats. After that, they went into Rogue Squadron, which is fun, and I love that game, but it's more arcadey. You know, you're not really doing the flight sim stuff. This game, there's a lot of detail. You know, we'll kind of show you some of that, but first of all, just look. I mean, you get to be on a Mon Calamari cruiser, which normally just has this going. I'm sure that's totally normal and not just for the game. But you know, you got your little droid down here for your crew quarters. You can go in there. But what we're gonna do first, we're gonna go into the pilot proving grounds, because in the pilot proving grounds, you basically just get to fly whatever ship you want through, well, the proving grounds, but through an obstacle course. It's a great time. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the Yard Fly-Through Challenge, because I don't know what I'm doing here yet. And we're going to go with, you know what? Let's go with the A-Wing. A little more maneuverable than the X-Wing. That's just fine. So let's just launch, and let's get going with this. So we're going to launch out of here. You get a nice cinematic view of the tiny little A-Wing, and they will count down for us. And the sound on this has been a little difficult to get figured out, so if it's a little quiet, I apologize, but before that, it would have burst your eardrums, so, you know, win some, lose some. Alright, so A-Wing, very snappy in a roll there. We're just going to do this because for fun, because, oh, right now it's not that bad. Oh, just wait. Even this gets harder than you would expect. I won't say harder than it should be, because it should be hard. You know, you're testing to see if you're a good enough pilot for the Alliance. That's an important thing, so we're going to have to throttle back, and then we throttle up. Yeah, it's that kind of a game where you have to slow down for corners. This isn't like Need for Speed, the Star Wars game. Don't get me wrong, I do love those games, but, you know, sometimes you just want a little bit of a challenge. Okay, so that was just that first portion, and now you got to go through some rings here, and you cannot go through these rings at full speed. You can try, but it's not going to go well, believe me. I tried, and it didn't go well. I'm talking from experience. And I am not the best pilot. You're going to see a lot of jerky motions and whatnot. I got my joystick here and my throttle, but I am definitely not the best pilot. I will be the first to admit that. And yeah, that's kind of all that this is. You know, you're going to be flying through some rings, and I've actually turned the lasers off. It's that kind of a game where your engines, you know, they take power, and so do your lasers, and so do your shields. So I have shunted all energy from my lasers into my engines. My shields I've left charging because I'm going to hit something at some point. I am positive of that. And it's nice to have shields when you're going to hit something. And I am going so much faster than I should be for this coming up corner. Alright, now this part. Let's see if I can avoid getting lost like I always do. Okay, I found the exit this time, first try. Let's see if I can make the corner. Oh, into the lava. Not a big deal. Told you I would need some shields. Alright, so going this way, and yeah, it's a little hectic. I told you that. Oh, you're going way too slow for that. I gotta remember the A-Wing can actually slow down as I run into a wall. Maybe it can't slow down as fast as I thought. But yeah, you know, this game, it's just, I didn't find this when I was growing up. You know, I didn't play this as a kid, and I am a little upset about that, because I love Star Wars so much, and this is my kind of a game, and I will show you what I mean a little bit later. The detail is ridiculous as it is. I'm just going to be bouncing off all of the walls because I do not know this course at all. But the detail is just ridiculous, as well as there are some what I would only refer to as Star Wars moments. And I will show you some of those later on once we get, you know, a little bit past this. And you know what? This is just going to go on. As you can see, we still have 30 rings left, and we're just on one lap, so we're just going to call it good for now. Alright. Oh, no, I always hit that. Sorry about that. We're going to end the mission there. Alright, so that was the proving grounds over here, and, you know, you got all kinds of rooms. These are where you do missions. We're not going to do those because, as you can probably tell, there's not a lot of music in this game. Well, actually, there really is, but all of it is Star Wars music straight from the movies, so we can't really play that for obvious reasons. And in the missions, without the music, it's just a little depressing. Oh, there's an announcement. Thank you for that. But yeah, so there's no music, and in the missions, there's just a lot of people chatting back and forth to the point where you can't really commentate over it. And, I mean, it would be fun to do some missions, but instead, we're going to go over here to the flight simulator. And yeah, there is multiplayer. I don't know. I have this on Good Old Games, and I don't know if you can do that on the Good Old Games Galaxy. If so, fantastic. Instead, we'll just get shut into this little pod here, which doesn't look intimidating at all. And this is where the fun begins. Yeah, I was messing around earlier. 6 Millennium Falcons against 6 TIE Fighters. It went about like you would expect. So what I'm going to do here, let's get back into those A-Wings. Let's have 6 of them. And no warheads or anything. And we are going to do a combat engagement where we try and destroy all of the enemy flight groups. And you know what? Let's make it a little more fair. I'm not going to do it against TIE Interceptor. I am going to do it against TIE Interceptors, not against TIE Fighters, because that would just be... I mean, that's just not fair. Come on. But, TIE Interceptors, maybe a little more fair. Points-wise, actually exactly even. So you know what? Let's test it. I am going to be flying an A-Wing because I like having shields. I'm that kind of a pilot. And the nice thing about having an old game on a new system is the load time. Oh man, we're just sitting here waiting forever. Oh, okay, now we're playing. And it's just the greatest. Alright, so here we go. Coming in hot. We're going to shift shields forward because you can do that. That is a thing that you can and should do. Alright, so we got a good amount of them there. I think there's maybe 2 left, 3 left if I look on my scopes right. So on the top left, that scope shows you what's ahead of you, and on the top right, that is what is behind you. And once you figure that out, it's pretty simple to know where things are, but hitting them is something else entirely. Like that guy. I mean, there's no lead indicator. It doesn't show you where you need to shoot. It just flashes green when you're going to hit where you're shooting. And that's as much help as you get. Let's even out those shields if I didn't do that already. But yeah, this is the kind of thing where I'm talking like you're watching A-Wings going after TIE Interceptors. This is a bit of a Star Wars moment. We'll have some more intense ones later when, some of the more fun stuff gets broken out. And that stuff I'm excited for. But what we're going to do is we're going to come in, and like I said, not the best pilot, but I love it, and it's Star Wars, so it's happening. Alright, got him. And I think that is the end of that mission. Yep, there we go. So we beat that mission pretty handily, It was a little unfair, It said points-wise it was the same. It really wasn't. You have shields on these guys versus no shields. That first pass, we took out, 2/3 of them. That's going to be a little difficult. So what we're going to do is I am going to go away here, and I'm going to come back with a true Star Wars moment. I'll be back. Alrighty, so what I meant when I said a Star Wars moment. Oh, look at that huge plant. Oh my god, look at that. So there's TIE Fighters and TIE Bombers, and we are in some Y-Wings, and I'm in an X-Wing, and there's some Y-Wings around. I have no idea where. First of all, watch this. Oh, it's just the best. I mean, you can't shoot when you do that, but it's even that little detail. Oh, Star Wars. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. But look at this. I am flying underneath a Star Destroyer, and I will very shortly die because I'm flying underneath a Star Destroyer. Like, they're as strong as they should be. I can shoot at it. I can shoot... Oh, well, they've jammed me, but normally I could shoot at it. But look at this. I got blown up by a Star Destroyer. That is amazing. Oh, it's just the best thing. Oh, and look at all that fire. Look at it. Look at all of the lasers. You're not going to get that, in, well, maybe Battlefront 2. I don't know. I haven't tried it. But, oh yeah, and I have a Mon Calamari Cruiser on my side. But, I mean, just the laser fire. That alone is impressive. Like, look how far it goes. It's exploding there. And we are... Oh, let's find out just how far away from this thing we are. So that's how big it is. Oh, we are 3 kilometers away almost. Like a couple hundred meters from 3 kilometers when I first did that. And just look at how massive that thing is. That is what I would refer to as an amazing Star Wars moment. Because Star Wars isn't about like, oh, well, this is how science works. There's the Force, first of all, which is just not science, and we all know that. But Star Wars is about basically movie moments, like putting heroes into movie moments and letting them either succeed or fail, but because they're heroes, they succeed, and that's just how that works. And that's okay. And, like, this thing exists. Like, you could blow up different parts of it. Well, it could blow me up, but if I wasn't about to die, I could blow up different parts of it. And we'll see if I can do it, but there's one thing that really showcases just how much this thing exists. Oh, I died before I could do it, but you can actually fly underneath that little, I don't know what to call it, the little bridge on top of the bridge, whatever that thing is called. But this part up there, you can fly between that part up top and that part down below. I actually did it in the B-Wing, where I just flattened myself out, took all the S-foils out. I'm just letting myself die, just because I like looking at stuff right now. I actually closed the S-foils on a B-Wing, and then, while I was flat, flew through that, and it's just the stupidest, best thing ever. Oh, it's just amazing. And, like, look at all that fire. Oh, it's just so good. But, I mean, if you like Star Wars, and I mean, oh, I should say, I think I just blew up a TIE Fighter by hitting it. Alright. So this is not how good the game normally looks. This game came out in, I believe, 1995, 98, somewhere in there. I don't know why those two numbers pop into mind. But this is not how good the game normally looks. There is something called the X-Wing Alliance Upgrade Pack, which is what I have. It's got better ship models as well as better backgrounds. So this is not how good the game looked when it came out, and I fully admit that, and it is modded, yes. But, I mean, if this is the result, whoa, okay, then I think everyone can be okay with the fact that this has some mods on it. Oh, we just might do it this time. Oh, I doubt it. We're not going to make it. Nope, sure aren't. But we can crash into it and, you know, maybe cause some damage. So, by the way, let's just see here. Yeah, it has taken 0 damage this whole time. Just so everyone knows. That's a thing. Oh, and you can also go from this view, which is very cinematic. But, yeah, this is just the greatest thing that and I really only recently found out how amazing this game was. I'd played it before, but only like a couple of the campaign missions. Yeah, you can't get close to that thing at all. You know, if I play through the campaign missions like I did, this game is good, but it's not great. Like, the greatness for me comes from these, what I'm just going to keep referring to as Star Wars moments, where, I guess I should keep shields, but where, you know, you're flying in the middle of a space battle, surrounded by laser fire, you know, okay, there's a Mon Calamari ship, there's a Star Destroyer, I guess I should look forward again, huh? But it's also hard to do with this joystick, and okay, yeah, you can't land in there, found that out, but yeah, where you're flying around a space battle with all these lasers around, and, you know, there's explosions, and ships, and bombers, and Y-Wings, and TIE Fighters, and X-Wings, and okay, both those capital ships in one shot is just amazing. Everyone just look at that. But these moments are what I would consider, you know, to be some of the best moments of this game, where you're just in awe of what you're looking at because of how insane it is. Also, yes, I'm enough of a nerd to know this. This is the shuttle landing bay, and we're going to go in for a closer look because of reasons. Oh, okay, yep, very tight squeeze. But there was a little hole there that if I was a better pilot, I could probably fly into. Not even going to try it. But yeah, I will be the first person to tell you that if you like Star Wars, you should get this game, if only for these kind of things, like watching capital ships trade laser fire. I don't know if it gets much better. Like, their shields are down to 40%. What are our shields at? Let's find out. There. Oh, yeah, won't let me target that. So then we'll do this. Oh, there it was. There. Oh, alright. So this ship is going to go down quickly. We're going to watch that, because it will be very, well, unfortunate, but impressive nonetheless. Oh, we're going to get a front row seat to this. Oh, no, we need to keep moving, because we're going to die before this thing does. got a little close. Sorry for the bad camera, but it's really hard to fly and move the camera at the same time. Oh, it blew up and I blew up at the same time. I mean, that kind of a thing where just look at how crazy that is. There's the debris from it, and there's the Star Destroyer that blew it up. I know I'm just going on and on, but I just can't help it. It's amazing. Alright, I got one more thing to show you guys. And believe it or not, it's a little more crazy than even this. Alright, so here I am, sitting in an A-Wing, just going full speed, because you're in an A-Wing, and you're in Star Wars. Why would you not do that? And you may notice that I got rid of some of the HUD elements. It's because I don't want to spoil any of the surprise. So, that Star Destroyer was incredible, right? Just massive. It existed. I ran into it. It exploded, obviously. Well, I exploded. It didn't. But what would be crazier than that? And you might be saying Death Star. It would be crazier. There is a mission where you fight the Battle of Endor, and you actually get to fly into the Death Star through all the mazes of passageways. You blow up the freaking core. You fly out in front of a fireball. It's amazing. I haven't gotten that far yet, so we won't be doing that, because there's, I think, like 50 career missions, I think, in this game, and I have not gotten that far. So instead of that, I've got another treat for you. And here it is. This is the Executor, the Super Star Destroyer. And you may think, wow, that's pretty big. We're still 6.5 kilometers away from it. This thing is 19 kilometers long. I mean, that's just crazy. And I know it's specifically that long because the Alliance upgrade pack, when you install it, you can either have the 17 kilometer version or the 19 kilometer version. And of course, I chose the 19 kilometer version. Because why would you not? I mean, just look at that. It is huge. Oh, is it big. And just wait until we get to the top. You know, the fact that it takes this long to fly, like, around the side of it just to get to the top should tell you, like, oh, that thing is huge. And there's the engines. We may take some damage when we fly through the engines. Yep, there we go. That's a thing that exists, too. We're flying through the engine wash, so we're taking damage because of it. That's the level of detail that this game has. And you might notice I'm not being shot at. I'd set this thing to just sit still because then we can do things like this, where, you know, you're just flying in and around the Super Star Destroyer. It's just, this is the moment where I realize, like, this is maybe one of the greatest Star Wars games of all time, when you can just do this kind of a thing. Like, flying down here, oh, what? Like I said, not the best pilot. Oh good, we're underneath it again. Well, I'll be right back when I get on top. And where are we this time? Okay, so now we're at the front end of it, and we're going to be flying back towards the bridge. And, I mean, just this kind of a thing where you can, you know, dodge through the canyons. This thing is a freaking city in space, and you're just flying through it. And, like, there's some parts where if you fly under an overhang, the overhang doesn't end and you just crash. And that's so cool, because, like, this thing isn't designed to be flown through, but you can nonetheless. And you're just, you know, spiraling around and going over and under and around, and, oh, it's just one of the greatest experiences playing a game that I've had recently. It was just such a surprise to find out that this thing was even in the game, and then to fly around it and realize that it's not interactive, but it is. Like, it's not there to be interacted with, but you can fly around it, and you can fly through it. And then, oh, you ready? Here's the thing I was trying to do on the Star Destroyer the whole time. We're going to do it from this angle. Even that is just the best thing ever. And let me tell you, when you have it with the music unmuted, it's one of the greatest things I've done in a while in terms of playing a game. It's just the most fun you could have with Star Wars at this point. I mean, there's some great games out there, don't get me wrong. There's also some terrible games. But this one is just so enjoyable. Now, you do have to have a joystick to play it, but, I mean, I had one lying around, and if you can do this with a joystick, what's the downside? I mean, you know, There's no downside to this because you're in Star Wars and you're flying and you're upside down and there's a Super Star Destroyer all around you. It's amazing. Oh, here's one of those parts where it doesn't end. Yep. Oh, it does if you just pull it very quickly. Alright, so I was wrong. But, I mean, just the length of this thing. I'm going at not quite the fastest speed possible. Here we go. We'll go to the fastest speed possible in the game that I know of. Because this is an A-Wing, one of the fastest ships, if not the fastest ships. And then you're flying this way, and it takes this long to drive from the... to fly from the front to the back of the Star Destroyer. And, you know, you're just going the whole distance, and it's massive. I know I'm just going on and on about this, but this is incredible. I mean, just look at it. Look at the Super Star Destroyer. It's... Well, I mean, you can't see it now because it's freaking everywhere. So you know what? I'm going to fly away, and I'm going to give you guys a whole panning vista of this thing as we end. All right, ladies and gentlemen. With this glorious Executor floating in the distance, by the way, we're 10 kilometers away, and that's how big it is, I will call this video to an end. This is X-Wing Alliance, an absolutely spectacular game that I highly recommend you give a chance if you enjoy Star Wars, or really just good flight simulators. There's not a lot of combat flight simulators. This is one of the best that I've played, if I have to say so. Like Elite Dangerous, it's pretty good, but in terms of space sims, I haven't had a chance to play Star Citizen because I don't have hundreds of dollars to fly one ship, but this one is up there. Like, this is a very competent flight sim with a lot of great combat elements, and it's also Star Wars, and there's a 19-kilometer Super Star Destroyer. If that doesn't get you going, then I don't know what will. But that does bring us to the end of it. As I'm bombing this Super Star Destroyer, I will say to everybody, thank you all for watching. I am Intro Nerded. This is X-Wing Alliance, and I will see you all in the next game.